And now we'll talk about graph, which is a great way for you to describe motions. Well, we usually use the function x of t, in which x is the position of the object and t is just time. And so looking at this graph that I just drew, I can describe it in a straight line like this. So how's how is this going to tell us about the velocity? And now looking at this, you see that the distance or the position is um, increasing. So if this is our origin, you can imagine that it goes something like this. Uh, followed and our direction follows the positive direction of the axis, and we reach x0, is this value, the same position. So we remain here, and that makes the velocity 0. However, after that, we went down. The position went down. So what this means is that we just go backwards. And go backwards means that velocity should be negative. And well, that's just a description of how you describe the motion when looking at the graph. But to be more exact, you can say that the velocity is the slope of xt, and we can write it as v equal dx over dt. You can see that I put the vector sign here, but don't worry because you don't really have to write that. I just want to notify that velocity can be negative. So yeah, you should be careful about that too. And of course, from this derivative, we can have that x equal the integral of v dt from t1 to t2, which conveniently is x2 minus x1. And this function can also be used when working with acceleration too. But we will talk about that in the next video. Another thing that I want to mention is average velocity, which is a fast way for you to describe the velocity of an object. And you can see that it is the slope of the line connect these 2 points. The practical meaning behind this formula is that, for example, you go on a highway, and so in calculus you can learn that if we have x and y 1 and x2 y 2, then the average value of these 2 points will always be inside, always be a value inside this range. And so from that, if you maybe your average velocity is higher than the maximum velocity, then they would know that you have at least go past the limit once, and that will be a ground for them to arrest you. So yeah. And Well, another thing I want to say is speed. Speed, which is the magnitude of velocity, and it's basically just equal to delta x over delta t, and this is always positive, different from the average velocity.